Welcome to this hardware overview review of the HP TouchSmart TM2 tablet PC. First thing to note, the TM2 does not include an internal DVD drive. You'll have to get an external USB drive if you so choose or need one. HP will sell you one that matches the finish of the TM2, so it's aesthetically pleasing. You can use any DVD drive you want to. This is an 8-speed dual layer burner. Also to note, no express card slot on this device, so if you want to use like a broadband modem, that was the only thing I ever used the express card slot for in the TX2, you'll have to use either a USB broadband modem, or you can buy as an option an internal broadband modem. That's kind of nice, no extra bulk to carry around. Looking at the unit at the front, just an intake air vent. On the side of the unit with the HP logo, we have a slider switch for the power button that's flashing there. That means the unit is in standby. This is the wireless radios button. This will just turn on and off all the wireless radios that you have included. By standard you get Wi-Fi, and as options you can get Bluetooth and, as I mentioned earlier, cellular broadband. SD card slot. One thing to note about this button, it's kind of easy to actually press when you're in tablet mode, so it's just something to be mindful of. Once again, the SD card slot, 2 USB ports, and the power connector. Up here in the panel section of the unit, you can kind of barely see it there, but that's the fingerprint reader, an option if you got. It's right there. And this is the screen rotation button. At the back of the unit, the notch for the security cable, analog monitor port, Ethernet port. On the side of the unit away from the HP logo, the pen slot stays in fairly securely, haven't had pop out accidentally yet. Only one audio jack, headphone jack, so if you want to use an external mic you'll have to use a USB one. Another USB port for a total of 3. The nicest thing they added to the unit, HDMI. You cannot use HDMI and the analog port simultaneously, so you get to choose one or the other. Exhaust vent coming out of the side of the hump here where the battery is located. The air coming out of here never gets too hot to hold or uncomfortable. At most it feels like warm air, like coming out of a dryer, like putting on a shirt that comes out of the dryer. The unit's never uncomfortable to hold, just gets warm if it's running at high performance. If it's just running normally, it barely generates any heat that I've noticed. Opening up the unit and logging in. We have a chiclet style keyboard that's become kind of popular with laptops. It's very similar to that of a MacBook Pro and the HP Envy. It's a nice keyboard. It's missing page up, page down, end, and home keys. That's not too bad because this is a touchscreen tablet, so you can do a lot of that just by touching the screen. I think it was a good trade-off. The TX2 had all those keys, but they were so small, so they took out some of the keys to increase the spacing and the I think the comfortableness of the keyboard was a good trade-off. So just something to note. The top row are dual function keys and media keys, screen brightness, wireless radio. The trackpad is your pretty standard multi-touch trackpad, 2-finger scrolling, that type of thing. It works pretty well. You can turn it on and off by tapping the corner here. There's a little white dot. When the pad's disabled, it turns orange, and then it's off when the pad is enabled. Looking at the screen section, there are really no buttons on the screen section. The only thing that's in the screen would be, if you get as an option, the web camera. The webcam's up top here. You got 2 microphone jacks on the side there. Also, at the top here, if you have the broadband modem included, you get a little wireless radio antenna. Don't know if that really helps or not. I've tested the 3G. It works pretty well with Verizon around in my area. That might help a reception. but it's there in case you ever want to try it out or need it. The important thing to note about this unit is the most important option to buy for this unit in terms of all the features and getting better performance is to get the HD 4550 GPU. This unit has it. It actually will greatly improve your gaming performance. I have a video out there that shows gaming performance with this unit, and it actually plays modern games pretty well, so that's a very good option. I would definitely go for that. It's only $75. You can also get a upgraded CPU. I went from 1.3 to 1.6. That's a far more expensive option. It's $200, and it probably won't give you quite the bang for the buck, especially with gaming that the 4550 upgrade will. Oh, one last note, the speakers are here at the bottom of the screen. They're pretty good. They're not quite as loud as the TX2, but they're quite loud especially for a machine this size. It's comfortable for listening to YouTube videos, that type of thing, in a relatively quiet room. It wouldn't work in a noisy room really or anything like that, and it's not really an enjoyable music listening experience, but for just like web video, it's perfectly fine. And one last note at the bottom of the unit, just to take a look at it. The nice thing about the TM2, one of the things that impressed me about the unit and the level of detail that HP put into it, doesn't have irregular surfaces. It's relatively smooth and flat. It's like someone actually thought about the fact that you would hold this underneath, since it's a tablet. I thought that was kind of a nice design element to it. You have your hard drive here, your memory goes here, and this is the battery. It's all very flush, and when it gets warm, it just gets warm. It doesn't get hot. It's never too hot to hold, and normally it's actually quite cool. In fact, oftentimes I think my hand is warming up the unit, then the unit is generating heat. So it's very cool running. Heat and noise are not an issue with this guy. It's rather nice in that regard. So there you have it, a high-level overview of the TM2. I would recommend definitely getting the HD 4550 as an upgrade. You can also get a faster CPU, Bluetooth as an option, cellular broadband included. You can go from 2 gigabytes of RAM to 8 gigabytes of RAM. HP will sell you a nice little DVD drive that matches the unit. So there's a lot of options and things to consider. A lot of flexibility here. Wonderful machine, guys. Wonderful machine.